The Russian share in the import of coal, natural gas and oil to the European Union is continuously declining. Before the full-scale war, about 60% of the Federation's economy was based on energy exports. Half of these exports went to the EU, but after the Union almost completely abandoned the purchase of Russian oil, oil products and gas, and also introduced a price ceiling for oil sold to third countries, the Kremlin's revenues from the sale of energy products halved, and Russia's share in the world market for petroleum oils fell by more than 8 times.
If in the first quarter of 2022 Russia was the largest provider of petroleum oils with a share of 26%, in the first quarter of 2023 the share of Russia was only equal to 3.2%, a decrease of 22.8 percentage points compared with the first quarter of 2022. The situation was similar for natural gas in gaseous state, with EU countries turning to other sources of supply, from a post on the Eurostat website.
Falling revenues and rising spending, primarily on the defense sector, have already created a record hole in the Russian budget. Therefore, the impoverishment of the population, the freezing of infrastructure projects, and the underfunding of the social sphere as a whole are the irreversible consequences of sanctions and the incompetence of Russian authorities.
Происходит резкое, если хотите, обеднение.
There is a sharp impoverishment, if you will, of the Russian economy. Impoverishment in the sense that the economy, on the one hand, is completely on a military footing. If you look at this growth, which is in the Russian economy, then it is observed only in a few sectors, and these sectors are related to the war. Those sectors that are aimed at the average consumer do not even show slow growth, they show a fall.
But the full consequences of sanctions and economic isolation, combined with the Kremlin's desire to continue financing aggression against Ukraine, have not yet been felt by the Russians. EU sanctions will increase over time and have an increasingly long-term impact, the European Commission said.
These effects will further intensify over time, as the measures have a structural long-term impact on Russia's budget, financial markets, foreign investment and its industrial and technological base, from European Commission report.
The consequences of the sanctions policy against Russia will be tightened, not only because of the cumulative effect of existing restrictions, but also because the number of sanctions will increase. Thus, Poland wants to synchronize economic restrictions against Belarus with sanctions against Russia. Warsaw is supported in this effort by Vilnius. According to the Polish radio, the draft sanctions against the Belarusian regime have been ready for implementation since the end of January.
The diplomat stressed that the January draft of Belarusian sanctions should be updated, since the EU has imposed 2 more packages of restrictions on Russia. In January, the European Commission proposed hitting Belarusian exports again and imposing sanctions, including on furniture, coal, oil, gold and steel. The project provides for additional restrictions in the aviation sector, from the publication of the Polish radio.
President Volodymyr Zelensky called for work on the 12th package of EU sanctions against Russia. According to him, Ukraine insists on imposing sanctions against Rosatom, and the Polish Foreign Ministry said that the next package should include restrictions on the import of diamonds from Russia, and it is also necessary to close the loopholes through which the aggressor country circumvents the previously imposed sanctions. Reported by Roman Smoler, Valeria Nikipelova, UA TV News.